Hello everyone, and welcome to Anno 1800 Season 2. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, an Anno game is getting a full Season 2 pass, due in large part to the overwhelming response from the community to this incredible game. Now let me first start by giving a very big shout out and thank you to the incredible team over at Bluebyte, Ubisoft, and the Anno Union for developing such a wonderful game and working hard to bring us a whole new season of what is sure to be fantastic content. Anno 1800 is one of my favorite games of all time, and by the end of this season, it may very well be the clear choice for number one on that list. Now, what I'm intending to do with this review of the Season 2 pass is interweave a lot of the information that was learned in the live stream that took place earlier today to give Anno fans a little deeper dive into what they can expect for the rest of 2020. So, here we go.
Hey Anno community, today we're super excited to share our plans for Season 2 of Anno 1800 with you, which will immerse you even deeper in the Industrial Revolution with 3 new DLC packs coming throughout 2020. So come and take a look at everything that's coming to Anno 1800 this year.
So there it is in a nutshell. 3 all-new DLCs coming in 2020, including Seat of Power, due out on March 24th, just 2 short weeks away. In addition, it should be noted for any of you out there who have never played this game for reasons I cannot comprehend, you can get this game free to play on Uplay or on Epic Store from March 12th to the 15th. So to be sure to give it a try, because I can guarantee you it will not be a disappointment. Also, it should be noted that there will be a free update to the game with the release of each DLC, so even if you choose not to purchase the DLCs immediately, there is something for every Anno 1800 fan in 2020.
2019 was a fantastic year for our team. Thanks to all of you, Anno 1800 reached more than 1 million players in its first 9 months on the market. We want to celebrate this milestone with a free ornament thanking everybody available today.
Season 2 kicks off on March 24th with our first DLC, Seat of Power. This much requested DLC allows you to construct a new prestigious palace. This modular building project will not only be the visual highlight of your city, but also serve as home to a variety of departments, allowing you to select powerful policies for buildings in the vicinity. Whether you want to boost your economy or gain more influence, the choice is yours.
So, considering that Seat of Power DLC hits the shelves in 2 weeks, we were privy to a lot more information during the live stream about it than the other 2. So let's break down what you can expect to see on March 24th. So let's start with the palace. The palace consists of 6 different modules which you can use to construct it in whichever way you want. There's corner pieces, T-junctions, straight sections, and the sky's the limit. Only your imagination can limit what you are capable of. In addition, the wing limit base is based on global population. So it's not just the number of investors you have or engineers, but all of the population you have on all of your islands everywhere globally is what determines the number of wings that you can add to your palace. And your palaces include 5 unique departments. And each of these 5 unique departments have 5 separate policies which you can enact. And the number of departments and policies available is linked to the attractiveness of the island which you place your palace on. So it is extremely important in order to make sure that you can have as many of these departments as possible and to implement policies within those departments, you want to make sure that the attractiveness of the island you're putting this on is as high as possible. And finally, just to let you guys know where you can build this, the palace is capable of being built in the European theaters only, which means the Old World and Cape Trelawney. Now we've discussed that, I want to take a little bit deeper dive into the departments and what we know about those. There are 5 different departments. They are the Department of Administration, the Department of Culture, the the Department of Labor, the Department of Welfare, and the Department of Transport. And each of these 5 departments have different effects. Those effects include plus 50 island workforce per town hall within range of the Department of Administration, plus 20% chance of receiving visiting specialists for the Department of Culture, a plus 10% productivity for production buildings in trade union range for the Department of Labor, plus 10 tile area of influence to all public buildings for the Department of Welfare, and plus 200 island storage for each harbor master's office for the Department of Transport. Now, again, keep in mind that in order for these effects to take place, they have to be within range of the palace itself. And the bigger you make your palace, the more modules you have on your palace, the greater that range becomes. And let me tell you, from what we saw during the live stream, that range can get very, very big. So it can be these effects can take place and have a lot of impact on your game. But in addition to all of this, like said before, each of these departments have individual policies which can be enacted within them. And you can implement one of these policies at a time. So for the Department of Culture, you have the Culture Outreach Act, which gives plus 1 rewards for World's Fair. The Heritage Act, giving plus 10 influence per museum module. The Conservation Act, which gives plus 10 influence per zoo module. The Estate Collections Act, which gives plus 250 attractiveness per completed culture set. And the Right to Remain Act, which improves the caliber of visiting specialists. Moving on, there is the Department of Welfare, which gives the Aspirational Finance Act, giving plus 50% bonus income. For those of you out there who may have been struggling for money, this might be the solution you're looking for. The Arts Patronage Act, which gives plus 3 attractiveness for artisans and engineers. The Citywide Web Act, giving plus 15 area of influence to power plants. This is a really big one for those of you out there who like to be able to limit the number of power plants that you have, but of course want to reach all of your power required buildings. Plus 15 area of influence can be a really, really big one. And of course, that's going to be able to stack with other influence bonuses, which are included with the palace. Next, we have the Social Welfare Act, plus 5 happiness from all public service buildings. And this does indeed stack. So if you have citizens in a particular category which are impacted by 4 different public service buildings, and those particular citizens are being impacted by all 4, then that means plus 20 happiness to each of those citizens as long as they are within range of the palace for the Social Welfare Act. And finally, the Late License Act, which is 20% reduction in the need for all drinks. For those of you out there, particularly playing with a lot of investors and are having trouble keeping up with the demand for coffee, this could be the solution you are looking for. A 20% reduction in the need for coffee could be a game changer, because sometimes it feels like it might be impossible to keep up with the coffee demands. A Starbucks in every corner doesn't even quite do it. So perhaps this will help in that regard. Next, we have the Department of Trade. Coastal Reforms Act, plus 300% productivity to all coastal buildings. Shipyard Stock Act, which gives plus 50 island storage per department. The Fuel Reserve Act, giving plus 200 oil storage per oil refinery and storage. Harbor Stewardship Act, giving an additional item slot in harbor masters' offices. And the Naval Logistics Act, giving 50% faster loading times for ships and trading posts at piers, which can be very valuable if you have a really big island with a ton of import and export. Getting the ships in and out faster can definitely be of some serious value. And finally, from the information we have from the live stream, the Department of Labor, which gives you the Land Reform Act, giving extra goods from farms. Skilled Labor Act, giving extra goods from heavy factories. The Galvanic Grants Act, giving 50% extra productivity from electricity. The Factory Inspections Act, giving minus 50% workforce needed. And the Union Subsidies Act, giving plus 1 item slots for trade unions. So that's what we have as far as the details on the individual departments. But you might be thinking to yourself, okay, this is fantastic. We're going to have one island with this massive palace and all these abilities to do all these bonuses, but what else do we get? What about all of my other islands? Well, let me tell you. all of your other islands will be capable of building the local palace department. And of course, it's only on the old world and in Cape Trelawney. And what these local palaces allow you to do is to choose one of the 5 departments to be represented on that island, and it allows you to choose one of the policies from that selected department. And the local palace will have the range half of your main palace. So the greater you have a range on your main palace, the better your subsequent local palaces will be. And keep in mind, it is just one of the 5 departments, but will allow you to specialize a whole bunch of your different islands specifically, so that you will be able to, say, have a farming island, or an island where you do a lot of production on the seashore and things like that. Or you want to be able to have an island where your production union or your labor unions get lots of extra boosts. So you'll have lots of opportunity to make lots of local effects for your individual islands. So, moving on.
Speaking of influence, we will of course keep improving our game through free game updates for all of our players. Game Update 7, which we release alongside Seat of Power, will allow you to separately select the difficulty level of the influence system, giving you more power over your game experience. And this will also work for existing save games.
This summer, you will be able to bring the wonders of the Industrial Revolution to your farming fields with our second DLC, Bright Harvest. New tractor modules, which you can place on your farms, making them much more efficient, freeing up valuable space on your island that you can use to reach new city building heights. This DLC will also include an assortment of agricultural and industrial inspired ornaments to flesh out your city, which many of you have asked for.
DLC number 2, Bright Harvest, which brings us the optimization of farms, progressing us into the latter half of the 19th century when farming was introduced to the Industrial Revolution. And key features to this DLC include the introduction of machines to farms, the increased field size per farm, further increases in the productivity to the farms, a reduction in the required workforce for each farm, and the introduction of the tractor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting a tractor, and we're going to have all kinds of fantastic farming communities across the Anno 1800 world. Now, one other thing, just to show you what they were talking about during the live stream, they did not divulge a lot of specifics. Really, this is just all the information they gave about it, in addition to what you saw during the trailer. But they did, however, give a bit of a teaser. And they did state that you will need to supply something, quote unquote, something, to keep your tractors operational. So this implies that there will be some sort of new, perhaps, manufacturing of some sort of oil or something like that, which will be implemented in order to make your tractors operational to give the boosts to your farms themselves. So they didn't give a lot of details, but there was a little bit of a teaser that I did want to let you guys know about. Now, moving on.
Later this year, you will be making the highly anticipated journey to the southern continent, teaming up with the resolute Emperor Ketema and turning the dry land green. Lando Flies is by far the biggest DLC of Season 2, including a new session on a new continent, new citizen tiers, buildings, trade goods, and quests.
The key to finding success in the desert will be the new irrigation system, asking you to make clever use of what little existing water there is to make the land bloom.
And finally, we have DLC number 3, the biggest DLC release for all of Anno 1800, including Season 1, the Land of Lions. Now, let's take a quick look through some of the features that they talked about, which will be included with this third DLC. They include all new citizen tiers. That's right, citizen tiers, plural. New production chains, new goods to produce, and all new quests, in addition to new storyline to explore. And finally, a new regional gameplay system. Now, to clarify by what is meant by a new regional gameplay system, as is shown in this beautiful conceptual artwork you're seeing on screen, it is the implementation of an irrigation system via canals, which will turn the savanna of the southern continent green and allowing you to farm the land within the range of your network of canals, adding a brand new and exciting aspect to Anno 1800 land management. And to clarify, for those of you who suffered through a similar irrigation system in 1404, you will not need to manually refill these systems. Once it's built, it will work seamlessly with the mechanics of the game. And lastly, when it comes to the Land of Lions DLC, we were left with another bit of a teaser. And that teaser is that there will have a significant impact and interaction with the old world. When creating the content for the Season 2 pass of Anno 1800, they worked hard to incorporate a lot of feedback from the community. And one of the main things that they wanted to do with this featured DLC was to make sure that there was significant impact on the old world to bring new life to your games.
In addition to these 3 existing DLCs, buyers of the Season 2 pass will also receive 3 exclusive new ornaments thematically fitted to these upcoming new adventures.
Let me just say, elephants are amazing. They are my favorite animal on the planet, and I will be spamming these everywhere.
These will become available when Seed of Power launches on March 24th.
We want to thank all of you in the Anno community for providing us with constructive feedback, some of which has directly impacted our plans for Season 2. We cannot wait to bring all of this to you and more free game updates throughout 2020. For more info, stay tuned to the Anno Union.
So, there you have it. You can pre-order now. You can go in-game and start placing your free 1 million players ornament right now. And 2 weeks from the release of this video, you can be playing the latest Anno 1800 DLC, Seat of Power. Before I go, I want to give one final thanks to all the teams responsible for the fabulous work that has gone into making Anno 1800 the game that it is, and the game it will become in the near future. I especially want to thank Marcel Haddam, the International Brand Manager for the Anno series, as well as Erwin van Hoof and Andrea Friek, who are game designers for Anno 1800, for doing a fantastic job on the live stream earlier today, laying out so many details on what we can expect from Season 2 Pass for Anno 1800. A link to that live stream, as well as the trailer used to make this video, will be in the description below. And of course, it wouldn't be a true YouTube video without some shameless plugging. So, let me just say that I have lots of great Anno 1800 content here on my channel, including a couple of ongoing series which I'm sure that you would enjoy. So please be sure to check those out. And until next time, everyone, take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.